So this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this debate, because the question, in other words, is Jesus Yahweh? That lends itself immediately to what their own theologians, that is, Trinitarian scholars, theologians, have labeled a logical problem of their system, of their doctrine. And in the debate, I provided this quote from a Trinitarian, and this was an article published in the Journal of Religion. All theologians understand that the central problem, now, when they say all theologians, again, they mean Trinitarian theologians, understand there's a problem and they call it a mystery of the Trinity. And what is it? To explain how you can have one God, but three persons in God without falling into contradiction. I also use this formula, if you want to call it that. So basically, here is the premise from my opponent. So you have the Father is Yahweh, the Son is Yahweh, the Spirit is Yahweh. Yet they say, when you ask them how many Yahwehs, which I've asked a lot in my debates, they invariably have to say one Yahweh. Because if they say three Yahwehs, that obviously is three gods. And that's one thing in the Trinitarian world that they cannot do. So, what is this? What does it look like? Well, it's obvious, a logical contradiction. Now, it's also what another Trinitarian scholar I quoted in the debate called a mathematical monstrosity. And he talked about this formula of 3x equals 1x. So, this was Carl Henry, a famous philosopher, Trinitarian from decades gone by. Some critics consider orthodox representations of the Trinity a mathematical monstrosity. So he's talking about people like me, critics of the doctrine. They contend is as fallacious in its claim for the three in one God as is the formula 3x equals 1x. But this description patently distorts the doctrine. That's true. That's a contradiction. He admits it. But this is the inevitable contradiction of saying three things equals one thing. He goes on, Christian theology affirms neither that three gods are one God nor that three isolated persons are one God. Rather, it affirms three eternal personal distinctions in the one God, in short, 3x in one y. Such a formulation is both intelligible and non contradictory. What is he saying here? So he's saying, wait a minute, we have to change the formula here. I'm calling it a formula, not him, because obviously it's a contradiction. If three things equals one thing, it's a contradiction. So let's go with 3x in one y. You have three persons in one being. Now, some refer to this, I should have put it on the slide, as three who's in one what. So that would result in 3x in one y, right? Three things that are not the same one thing. Now, this is a mystery, says Martinic. And then you have this other problem, though, when with the debate question, you have one Yahweh, yet three Yahwehs. Now, they won't say three Yahwehs, obviously. This is my formulation. But again, this is the contradiction. So, yes, at the center of it all is the problem still. Whether you go with 3x in one y, in other words, three persons in one being, or if you say each one is Yahweh, yet there is one Yahweh. Again, I think it's inevitable. It's a problem of logic, a contradiction, and it's also a counting error because you can't have three things yet say they're one thing. So they have to revert to the so called mystery of point number one. So